Good evening and welcome to the FITT Show, financial information for today and tomorrow. I'm Bobby Kinzer,
And I'm Thomas Doty.
and we are the FITT Show, helping our people get their finances in shape. Dote, how are you doing today?
Man, I couldn't be better. I'm here with my grandkids in Jersey. I had a stock go up 74 points today, which has never happened in my life. Had me a cheesesteak today. It's been a good day, my man.
Yeah, well, that's definitely good news. This is our 102nd show. Today's show is Thursday, May 25th, 2023. So thank you all for tuning in. Looking forward to having another interesting show packed with a lot of good information. Last week, Dope, we talked about do you trust your will? A lot of people have estate plans and a lot of people that don't. But the question was, do you check it regularly and are you in the right place and made the adjustments that you need to do when it comes to trust and wills? So that was a wonderful show and got a lot of good responses. Just want to remind everybody to please continue to click on the like button and the heart button, and also put comments in the comment box because that helps us to reach more people. And if you have any different topics you'd like for us to discuss, please put them in the comment box. And our way of being able to engage with you, because we just don't want to make this a one-way conversation. And the way we can make this a two-way conversation is by you putting your statements, your ideas, opinions in the comment box. So with that, Thomas Doty, let's go to the top of the show while we always start off with everybody's favorite topic, the stock market.
Yeah, and it's been another crazy week. Uh, where's the chart, baby?
I'm
Here.
coming. It takes a little time here, homie Slicey.
And a lot of things are in limbo because they're waiting to see if this whole debt ceiling situation gets uh, handled within the next uh, couple of weeks before the U.S. defaults, because it could have a devastating effect on the market. So you're seeing some softness in the Dow. The Dow is actually down a couple of percent versus last week, whereas the Nasdaq is up slightly. But if you look at some of the Nasdaq stocks, you can see Microsoft had a nice little increase, as did Tesla. And Apple's down slightly, and Pfizer's up a little. But things are going to be this way for a while until this debt situation is straightened out. I think the Nasdaq is a little more optimistic that things are going to get done, and all this could come crashing down. And I think me and Bob told you a while ago we had bought the semiconductor stock. This is one of those I just had a kind of had a hunch on. Most of the things I own personally, like I actually did some research on Microsoft, Amazon, Apple. That's why I bought those. But Nvidia was just kind of a hunch, and it's done really well. I bought it at like 170, and it's up to like 380 something now. It's been going bonkers. They just beat their earnings real big, so I'm in a real good mood today. I ain't never had a stock go up 74 points or almost 25% in one day. So it could all be gone tomorrow, obviously, because don't make any money until you sell, and I haven't sold. So on
And you
paper,
don't lose any money until you sell too. So
right? But it looks good on paper. I'm just hoping they get this debt ceiling thing straightened out. So that'll be one less worry about. And there's still some doubt about whether or not the Fed's going to raise interest rates again. So what? It just again, as we've been telling you, just kind of kick back and let's see how things fall, and just kind of hang in with what you got.
and Dope, my semiconductor stock, which is a competitor to Nvidia, is NXPI, and they're up approximately about $4 to $5 today a share. So I'm happy to see that. And believe it or not, the GM stock is up and my General Electric stock is up. What's so interesting that gold has been going down. That gold was going up. It even crossed the 2,000 mark a couple of weeks ago. And one day it went up by $25 an ounce. But now all of a sudden it's back down under $1,900. So don't know what's driving that, because normally the dollar is actually not doing that well. And usually commodities, when the dollar's not doing that well, usually commodities do well. But we're in an inverted curve type situation, and nobody really, some of these are uncharted waters, can explain why the markets and commodities and futures and stocks are doing what they do. Let's talk about the cryptocurrency market. One of my favorite markets. I got in maybe a couple of years ago. About two, when did I get in? I think I got in. So this is 2023. I think I got in 2019. But the total cryptocurrency market cap, which actually back then was about $2 trillion, is down to now to $1.1 trillion, and actually it's up about 15 billion. That's only 1%. So there's not a lot of action going on in the cryptocurrency market right now. The Bitcoin is at $26,465 per Bitcoin, and that is actually, I'm sorry that I had it as a positive. That's down $428. It's down 2%. So sorry about that error there. And Ethereum, which is smart contracts, it's just, once again, I don't know why I have these numbers inverted today for some reason, though, but it's down $2. So don't know what's going on. The other ones, Tether, Dogecoins, and Shiba Inu, they still just holding. So the cryptocurrency market has just been in a stable, pretty stable position. So not much happening in the cryptocurrency market. And like we said, once again, it's highly speculative, and we expect these kind of things to happen because of the nature of cryptocurrency. But remember, you don't recognize, like Doe said, until you sell, you don't recognize the gain, and until you sell, you don't recognize the loss. So if you can stomach it, hang in there. And we always talked about, it's always about the long play anyway.
Yep, that's it.
So just remember that. Keep that in mind. So, Doe, our topic today is pretty interesting because we're going to be talking about, protecting your smartphone. And a lot of people are like, what does that have to do about finances? Well, hey, a lot of your information is on these smartphones, a lot of your financial information. But what's your take on it, Dope?
Well, yeah, I'm one of those people who's tethered to my smartphone. I got it with me, and I have all of my information in it. And we're going to talk about some of the steps you ought to take to protect that financial information. Some of them I do, and some of them I feel a little lax because I don't. And I'll share those with you. But I mean, nowadays, if you lose your smartphone, I mean, you could that could basically wreck your life. It's not just you're gonna miss some calls and can't play solitaire. It whoever finds your phone, if they're smart enough, they can figure out how to get into it and access your finances. They can steal your identity. And so, you got to think of your smartphone is half wallet, half computer. It's just like losing your wallet. So if someone was to access your online bank account, or say your eBay app, I mean, they can do some damage. They could hit your checking account and have your money in minutes. It can happen really quick. They can get your email messages and change your passwords for your online account. And then, they might even get your email contacts, get your contacts, and then start sending fines letters to your friends asking for money. So it's important that you keep an eye on that. So that's what we're going to talk about today, is safeguarding your smartphone. And also another thing we're going to talk about is tipflation. and that's a buzzword, and it's just about the crazy tipping culture and how people are reacting to having that terminal thrust in your face with people looking over your shoulder to see how much you tip and everybody waiting to see what you tip. So those are the two things we're going to talk about tonight.
Yeah, those smartphones it makes it so easy for us to get things done while you're on the go. And, whether you're stuck in traffic or you purchasing airline tickets for a trip you've been planning, or while you waiting in the car line to pick up your kids, or even, ordering new school clothes for them online. And more people are making purchases, though, on their phones. About 1.2 billion in purchases in 2009. That's up 396 billion from 2008. And according to the ABI research, however, consumers aren't always taking the proper precautions while shopping or making any financial transaction on mobile devices. A lot of people are very negligent when it comes to handling their mobile phones. And like Doug said, this is actually like your wallet. So chances are you're not doing enough to protect your personal information from being stolen. Is really happening. And everyone puts themselves at risk to hackers on a daily basis. Hackers use viruses, spyware to infiltrate computers and your mobile device to steal data, such as passwords, social security numbers, and account information. This can be costly to you. That's why we're talking about protecting your smartphone. Then they can use that information to access your accounts and drain them and run up debt under your name or steal your entire identity. Now, if you think you aren't at risk of becoming a victim, consider these statistics. Identity theft so widespread that everyone becomes a victim every 3 seconds. And this is according to the Javelin study and research. Thieves stole more than $21 billion from 12.6 million victims in 2012 by using their personal information. And it can take years for identity theft victims to repair their finances. And that's according to the Privacy Rights Clearinghouse. And that's why we find it important that we're going to be talking about this subject, because it can affect you financially. Now, let me tell you something else that can affect your pocket. And that is another subject, kind of unrelated, but it's a big one now, and it's tipflation. And what has began as an act of gratitude for service at restaurants and bars, tipping is now expected in fast food places and restaurants where your only interaction is with an iPad, and Americans are giving into this. Now we will be looking into how much the tipping culture has changed in the U.S. and what it means for money in your wallet. But we're going to start off by talking about smartphones and protecting your information in your smartphones.
Yeah, and the first step you got to take is your security setting to lock your phone. And there was one study done that said 28% of people do not use any sort of lock on their phones. That means there's no passcode, there's no finger, there's no face, which to me is there's just no excuse for that. And so, as phones have evolved, you're able to use like either your finger or your face, if you have a face ID. And people use pins, and some people use obvious pins like their birthday, and it's or 1 2 3 4, something they'll remember easily, which is a big mistake to make if you lose your phone. And I think I mentioned before, if you're ever out in a club or a bar, there's actually people who work together to steal your phone, and they will sit and watch until you put your code in, and then they have your code, and then they steal your phone, and they have access to your life when they do that, because they can go in and change your Apple ID once they get into your phone. And you've lost everything at that point. And so another thing you can do is have a strong security code. And if you aren't using your face or your finger, And also, when you finish an app, make sure you log out. Okay. And at a minimum, sign out of your banking apps, any payment apps you can have. And this is one where I'm guilty of. It says don't allow an app to save your login information, but I do that, and I probably shouldn't, and I'm going to reconsider that. But and it's funny how social media apps can, like Facebook, can people will put a lot of information, like their birthday. Then they'll get these stupid questions. What was your first car? Uh, Things that typically are your security questions. And the thieves are sitting looking for that information. And so when you put that information in there, they can put two and two together with your birthday, your first car, what was the name of the first street you live on? That's another stupid question that they ask, and I see people answering, and I just shudder when I see that. Like, don't answer those stupid questions. Don't nobody need to know where what your first car was. Who cares? So don't put that information out there. Watch what you put on social media, and especially your birthday. Uh, People, you see everybody celebrating everybody's birthday. That's just one piece of information. But a lot of times, if you have that one piece of information, you can call and get another piece and another piece and another piece, and eventually they can get into your life, basically. So I would be careful of what kind of information I put on social media.
Though, want to back up for a moment. You mentioned about if they could steal your password and then steal your phone, and then say your iPhone, they go in and change your password, you're done.
Yeah, you can't even
You,
pictures. All the pictures are gone. Everything you have on the iCloud is gone. You
and
can
you can call and tell them you can call, contact Apple, and there's nothing they can do if they
right,
go in and change the password to your phone, your information. It's nothing they can do.
right.
So it's so important because so many people are cavalier the way they handle their phones. But we're just in that type of day and age. So please take precaution on protecting, when you putting in your information and logging out and autosave though, I almost no, I almost never do it because if you autosave and they steal your phone, they can get your information and they have all the access because if you use autosave, they're going to be able to control and get into all your other accounts or information. So,
Well,
please be.
I take that back. I use autosave, but I'd use it in conjunction with Face ID. So I guess if they knock me upside the head, they could use my face and get in my stuff. But if I'm knocked upside the head, I probably won't care that they steal my money. But that's the only way they can get it. So I guess I really don't autosave. I use Face ID to access my password. So I guess I'm not as bad as I thought I was.
Yeah. And then, just looking at your face on here, it's going to be pretty hard to duplicate a face like that. But the other, I got jokes, right? Hey, dope. Maddie Ford, she said, I would love for you all to talk about AI and how that's just as bad as your phones. Do we want to address that now, or do we want to wait until after we talk about the phones?
After the phones, yeah.
Okay, Maddie, we're
We're
going
going to go on
to.
that. That's get hold.
Yes,
That's
yes.
not a simple subject.
Really, it's not. But hang in the matter. We're going to address it a little bit after we talk about smartphones. Now, if your phone is lost or stolen, you got to take action right away. Now, you can install a location tracking app on most smartphones. Apple's iPhone has, and most people know this, Find My iPhone app built in, but you need to activate it because some people don't have it activated. Now, Google's Find My Device works on Android phones connected to the Google account, or you can use apps such as Where's My Droid. The feature is a big help if, say, you can't remember where you left your phone. And if it has been stolen, police may be able to use the app to help track down the thief. Now, also, set up your phone so that you can remotely erase its data.
Yep.
Your wireless carrier may offer this service, and many security apps include the feature. Find My features also offer an erase capability. your data won't be lost if it's saved automatically to your Google or iCloud account. And you can regularly perform backups by plugging your phone into the computer. So erase some of the data that you have on there, knowing that it's saved in the iCloud, and for your Androids, it's saved in Google. But keep in mind that the sophisticated thief may be able to restore your information at any time. So you got to be careful with that.
And the other thing, and this is, I've been reading about more and more people who are using those air tags that you attach to items, phones and cars and stuff, so you can track them. But people are going and confronting people who've stolen their stuff. So I don't recommend that. Go to the police, let the police do that. People are getting shot trying to get their stuff back, which is stupid. I mean, don't go to the cops if you find somebody, if you find my phone works and you can figure out where something is. Don't try to get it yourself. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Next, other than um people stealing your phone, you still got to worry about malware and hackers, sending apps that can put bugs into your phone or viruses and create bad situations or allow them to access your information. And you got to be a little more careful on Google type phones or Androids than you do on Apple, because Apple pretty much has a screening process for their apps. Google's is more open. That's positive in some ways, but it's negative when it comes to people being able to put bad apps out there. So watch what you download as far as apps, especially if you have an Android. Make sure it's something that people use, that's reputable, and just make sure it's good before you download it. And so if you get something suspicious in a text message or anything like that, don't ever text it. If you get something from somebody you don't know, nobody's going to give you anything. If you don't know them, don't click on any links, don't open any emails, because it's probably just bad news. And another area where a lot of people fall victim is on Wi-Fi networks. And so, you go to a public place and you have hackers just sitting there because they can get into that same Wi-Fi network and access your information. And so if you got to use a public access for Wi-Fi quite often, you should invest into a VPN, which is a virtual private network. And Norton has one. It's less than $100. And all that's a direct line between your device and the internet. In this case, we're talking about phones. It also could be used for your computer. So that's a direct line with no access from hackers. And it costs between $50 and $100 a year. And it's definitely worth it if you're going to use public Wi-Fi, because that's an invitation for hackers to get at you. And another thing you can do is be aware of your Bluetooth. Make sure you're controlling what's attaching to your phone. And one that I think a lot of people forget is when you rent a car, and a lot of times you'll hook up the Apple CarPlay to your phone and it'll download your contacts. But you got to remember, when you take that car back, to delete that information, delete that phone, so that information isn't still out there with your contacts. You might have, I'm not even sure what information you may have out there, but just make sure if you're in a car and you do download or Bluetooth to the phone and it drops your contacts, make sure you delete that when you return the car.
Maddie Ford said, "Do you think the government listening on our phones?"
Well, I know Google does, and it's a fact that, you could be having a conversation and Google will answer your question. It's because they heard, "Hey, Google."
Yeah.
Government, but I know Google does. I'm not sure what they do with that information. And it's funny because they had an article about said noise. Tesla has all those cameras on their cars, and they sit and watch that stuff. The employees can sit and see that stuff. And so you got to be careful with all this technology. also brings a lot of things you need to worry about, and that's definitely one of them. Privacy.
Yeah, and though a lot of people don't know this, just by simply hovering your link over some of the links or images with your mouse or with your on your phone or in your computer, you can start a script that will gather info from your hard drive. Just waving the mouse over a link or image, So we got to take this we got to take this very seriously, you all, especially with this technologies. Now, we want to talk about some of these do's and don'ts to protect your phone. And I want to start off with one of the do's. Use a credit card instead of having purchases billed to your phone. To make purchases because they provide more security. If someone gets your credit card information and goes on a spending spree, your liability is capped, and I don't think most people do this, at $50. That's Visa and MasterCard assume all liability for unauthorized purchases. Also, if you have a dispute with a merchant, for example, you're not satisfied with the quality of the item you've purchased, or there's a billing error, you may have an easier time working out a solution if you paid with a credit card. Now you get the least protection if you use a prepaid retail gift card or have purchases billed to your phone because they are not required by law to offer consumer protection against fraud or billing disputes.
Yeah, and another do, I just want to mention it again. Use a secure password. Don't use 1234 or anything like that to protect your phone in case it gets lost. And the other thing we didn't mention is you have a choice, at least on the Apple phones, you have a choice of when your phone screen is locked. And I would set that as low as possible, like immediately or after 1 minute. So if you do happen to leave your phone laying around, that it will go to the unlocked screen and it will require the either the passcode or your face or your finger to unlock it. Take the time to do that, because if that thing gets stolen, your life will be in disarray.
Now, we know some of this information is intuitive, but is it? Because everybody knows and know they shouldn't be using those easy um, passwords. But please take heed, you all, because we're in a different world, a different culture now. So we need to take added precautions. You need to change your passwords every few months and don't use, easy to crack passwords like Dope said, like your name and your birth and God is good and, all the time. Take the time, you all. Take the time. And this is what I need to do more. And I know they actually have ways to store your passwords, because a lot of people, I wonder where they store their passwords, and that's why they use one or two. But and I need to do this more, Dope. Like every few months, you really should change your passwords. But how many people do because of the inconvenience?
I definitely don't, because I always let Apple create these mega long, crazy passwords.
Uh-huh.
So I figure that's my protection. I don't change my passwords, but every so often, unless there's a data leak or something like that. Another do is, if you're dealing with a mobile payment app, find out about their purchase protection, if just to see how safe your transaction is. That's a question you can ask. And the other thing I'd recommend, and it's something I do, it's not for everybody, but Costco has this service. It's called Complete ID. It costs, I think, $9.95 a month. And they monitor all of my personal information. They monitor all of my bank accounts and the address, home address associated with them. And so if it changes, I get a notification immediately. If a credit application is hit, I get a notification immediately. It also keeps track of my information on the dark web, any activity with my address or my name, my social security number, any of my bank accounts, I get immediate notification. And that's kind of my security blanket, as if someone gets my information, it will not be long before I find out because of that complete ID. And they do a pretty good job of getting to you pretty quick when something happens. Anything in your financial life happens, they send you a text. So it's $10 a month. And I figure that's just another little security to have because, like I said, I don't change my passwords every month. And losing a phone isn't that out of the ordinary. I've left my phone in a taxi cab once and fortunately got it back. But that's just another little precaution I use.
That's what Rodney Madison said. He left his phone on the daggone subway, but he just before it closed, he got it. He said that's close to a cardiac arrest he's had. But James Alexander said, relative to your personal information on social media, why must you be truthful with your information?
Yeah.
And he was saying stuff like your real hometown, your current city, et cetera, et cetera. He's right.
Yeah. Hey, Jimmy, the only problem with that, I had one of my nieces call me and wish me happy birthday on a day that wasn't my birthday. So I was like, girl, you know this ain't my birthday. Why are you wishing me happy birthday? And nobody else wishes me happy birthday on that day because I think everybody knows it's a fake date. So yeah, that's a good way to do it. Because I think you have to put in I'm not sure, but I think you have to put in a birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just put in a bogus.
And you know why? Because is it 18 or 21 actually for you to be on like Facebook? That's why they ask you why you got to put in your birthday, because they definitely use that. Modestine said, Norton Lifeline offers us the same protection that you were talking about, though.
Yeah, they do. And I actually have it two places because my brokerage account gives me Norton for free, but it's just not as extensive. It doesn't do the dark web, and there's a couple of other things it doesn't do. And so I pay the $10 a month to make sure that I do stay on top of it.
Yeah. And I just want to give y'all another security thing. Don't be like Dope and be on, social media with his kids on the wall in the background.
Those are my grandkids.
Don't do that, whatever you do. That's a don't. Okay, another don't. Let's get into the don'ts. And we said this before, but reiterate it. Don't autosave login information because thieves could make purchases with your phone if it's lost or stolen. We talked about that, but that's one of the first don'ts.
Yeah, another one is don't assume Verizon, AT&T, or whoever your phone provider is, they're responsible for the transactions you make. You got to deal with the merchant if a dispute arises. They are totally out of it.
And it is recommended by one of these security firms. We talked about using weak passwords, and they recommend that you use a minimum of 10 characters that include numbers, symbols, and upper and lowercase letters. And you can test the security of your passwords at Microsoft.com//security. Now, don't store these passwords in a file on your computer or mobile device that hackers can access by using spyware you might inadvertently install by clicking on links in spam emails, texts, or even websites. That's how they can get that information if it's on your phone.
Yeah. Another one is using the same password for more than one account. And a lot of people do that. They use a single password so they won't forget them. But if a hacker figures out one, suddenly they got access to everything. So you should use a different password. And like I said, in my case, I let Apple create these crazy passwords, which is a pain in the neck if you ever have to put it in somewhere, but it's worth it to make sure you're safe,
My sister Nola said, can you list the name of the product from Costco?
It's complete ID.
Cool. Right. Oh, James Alexander. He said, you don't even need to use the correct spelling of your name. That's pretty good.
That's for
That's a good point, James. We like your the tips. The other one is using public Wi-Fi. Though it's tempting to use free public Wi-Fi to get access while you're away from home work, but these share networks and it make it easy for hackers to see everything you're doing. So the security people say you should use your phone's 3G or 4G service to access the web for more secure connection. And I use my personal hotspot on my phone. That's what you call using your 3G or your 4G. And and stay away from those Wi-Fi because I'm telling you, you open to the world when you go into Starbucks or these other places that are offering you these Wi-Fi, even in the hotels.
That's for sure. Another one, this is another one that I'm probably guilty of, but this is when you create an ID on websites, and it might be something you're buying one time, and they ask you to create a user ID and enter your password and create an account. And I usually do that because they usually give you something free, like a discount, like 20% off or free shipping. But what happens when you do put that information there, if they get hacked, they have your information. So if you do create that user account with a password, do not save your credit card information on that site. So at a minimum, if you do set up a user ID and password, make sure you do not, and then usually given a choice to save that password, save that credit card information. So I would strongly suggest that you don't do that to make sure if that company gets hacked, which happens every day if you read the paper, they don't have all of your information.
Now this is another don't. Using multiple credit cards to make purchases online. I know a lot of people are subject to doing this. And the reason why, the more credit cards you use, the more chances you give hackers to access your account information, and they use your entire credit limit. Now, many advisors recommend using a payment service such as PayPal. That's just what they're recommending to make all of your online purchases, and link only one credit card with a low limit to their PayPal account. It don't have to be PayPal, but it's just saying use one of them payment services and then and use a low limit credit card to use for payments online.
And I just want to repeat another don't, and that's again revealing too much on the network, just on social network. Just don't do it. So many people want to put their whole life and all their information out there, but just be careful. You got people working full time trying to steal information from people, and so it's real important that you put as little information out there as possible.
So this is where we end the talk about protecting your smartphones. And
wait, Bob, let's go back to AI, because that's we're going to do a show on that one, because that's crazy, and that's something else you got to watch with your kids, because now with AI, if they hear your kid's voice, they can repeat or create that voice in artificial intelligence. So now when you get that scam where the kid is calling the grandparent, they can actually use the kid's voice. So that I just shuddered when I heard that yeah, that's one of the technology moving forward. But that's when it gets kind of scary, when they can create your voice and actually basically create recreate your voice, which is scary to me.
Yeah, and it's so interesting. So I know many of y'all have gotten these phone calls from 800 lines, 888 or 8 whatever, and you pick it up and you don't hear nothing, and it'll hold on for a few seconds. You don't hear nothing, and then it'll cut off. What they are doing, they are actually, some of them, not all of them, are actually doing what Doe said. They try, and all they need to do is get you to say hello, and they get your voice, and AI can then take your voice and create any script it wants. Like the little girl calling her grandmother, help me, grandma, please cash out me, they're holding me, they're kidnapping me. And that's why when, like, sometimes I'm not sure, even sometimes it's not an 800 number. It could be a prefix, the area code on,
A spoof.
like,
Yeah, it could be a
yeah,
spoof.
like I've seen my doctors. It looked like it was my doctor's office calling me. It was my own number. It looked like it had my prefix on it.
And Bob, they could say a bank. They can make it say Bank of Ohio. They can make, or Bank of. I got a notice from Bank of America that's saying there was a charge of $1,600 to my account. Please call if I want to protest it. Now, luckily, I don't have any money in Bank of America, so I knew it was a scam. But
Right.
very, very creative. They can actually make the caller ID say whatever they want it to say.
Right. So when you pick up on these calls you on and you're not sure and then you think it's somebody, it's not a number you're sure of, or you were looking for a particular call, but you didn't know the number. When you pick up, don't answer, just do not answer the phone. Don't say anything. Just wait a few seconds. Because if it's somebody, a person on there, they go, hello, hello. And if they don't, they're trying to record your voice. So just don't say nothing, y'all, when you pick up this phone. And you'll see in a couple of seconds, it'll cut off. And that's actually, and my sister said, don't answer the phone. Yes.
Yes. And a lot
But
of it's just a robot calling to see if it's a live person.
right.
Answer the phone. They know they got a live number, and then they sell that number to other scammers who then call you.
That's the other thing, though.
Don't know the number, just don't answer the phone.
But sometimes, though, they've gotten good. Like I said, they were sending the number look like a familiar number, like I said, of my doctor's office.
Yeah.
So I know it's just not just as easy of not answering the call because the 800 numbers are easy.
Yeah,
right?
but the thing is, if it's your doctor, they're going to leave a message.
Right.
Never leave a message.
Right. Right. But sometimes you just think it's a number and it's not that clear that you're just not going to answer. If you do, just don't, when you pick up the phone, don't start talking. Just wait, because if it's a live person, they'll let you know. So just wanted to, and AI, the last statement on AI, they're using it for human resources, to select candidates. And what they're finding, you all, and this is what AI is. Artificial intelligence is just a database of information. But what makes that information valuable and potent is they putting algorithms on all that information that is stored from all over, all about you. And the algorithms then just work. And the interesting thing, they're saying that it's not profiling you. But the people who create the algorithms, if they are biased, then the bias is going to be in the algorithms. And that's what they're struggling with, because it is not a federal law against face recognition and this AI. There's no federal laws, you all. So it's so wide open. It is so scary. But Maddie, thanks you. We're going to do a show on it and get a little bit more deep because it's in everything, you all. And it was created as a way to be a tool to help you. But what happened is it's becoming a tool to make a lot of people money. And they're using it in the wrong way. All right, so look, let's get back on track. I want to talk about, let's go into tipflation, though. Tipflation. Why are we talking about tipflation? Because this can affect your wallet. Now, everybody know about tips. And tipflation is just a blend of the word tip and inflation. It refers to the rise in the tip amount expected, often starting at 20% and reaching as much as 30%. Now, tip creep is the rise in tip prompts appearing at more and more touchscreen checkouts. I'm talking about even at your checkout at the grocery store, right? And the people are like, wait a minute, why is this asking for a tip? Unsurprisingly, tip fatigue relates to the backlash from customers who are starting to object to the pressure to tip, especially when they don't feel it's warranted. Now, once upon a time, tipping was relatively simple. You might add 10 or 15% to your restaurant bill for the server, or hand $1 to the valet who parked your car. But now it feels as though tipping has become an expectation everywhere. But how did tipping even get started in the first place? Why don't employers just pay their employees a regular wage and increase their prices to make up the difference? And there are several theories about where the word tip comes from. And I bet y'all never even thought, oh, wait a minute, what is the word tip? What does it mean? How did it become tip? Now, one of the holes that in the 17th century, the word was used as a verb meaning hand it over or to give. Now, this follows the suit with the stories of the feudal lords throwing gold coins as tips to the peasants in the street to ensure they safe passage. Now, tip is also thought to be an acronym to mean to ensure promptness. Isn't that something? And this was around about the 18th century. Most people think it came from. Now, tipping traditionally been reserved for those in service industries. For many of these workers, tips make up, the significant amount of their income, particularly since the federal law only requires employees of tip workers to pay $2.13 an hour in direct wages. That is the federal law. Now, the most prominent reason for tipping appears to be a more of a difficult issue than gratitude issue. Now, we know that tipping, at least in the United States, is expected. If we don't tip, we stand a chance of angering the server. And then who knows what our next visit to the restaurant, airport, or salon will be like. And I just want to use this last information. Research has shown that the quality of service we receive isn't always reflected in the tip we leave. Many who have studied the practice have discovered that excellent service only draws a marginally high tip than the average service, though. So, I want to just share, because a lot of people were like, okay, why 10%? Why 20%? Why? I want to just share with everybody the general tip, I guess they call it the general rules for tipping. And let's try this out, though. Now, once again, this is just ballpark, but it's going to shock you because a lot of people, what is the average amount that we should be tipping somebody? Okay, so I want to go here. Now, look, in restaurants, they said wait service for sit down should be 15 to 20% pre-tax. And I always thought it's supposed to be after the tax. And this is just based on the general guidelines by, the tip people out there who track and do this. And wait service buffet, like a buffet, should be 10% if somebody is serving. And then you got tip for delivery. They said it should be 10 to 50% of the bill, no more. $2 to $5 for piece of delivery, depends on the size of the order, the difficulty of the delivery. I mean, even the valet, it should be just $2 to $5 tips when the car is returned to you. And that's what is considered reasonable and customary. Travel, because this is interesting, because in different countries, it means a whole different thing than America. Like I didn't really not realize that for a sky cap, it should be just about $2 for the first bag. Housekeepers, because I know a lot of people usually put a note down there, housekeeping, thank you, but $2 to $5 per day left daily with a note. So cab drivers, and cab drivers, that one used to always get me. I'm like, should I even be tipping this guy or gal? But it's normally a guy. And they say it's about 15 to 20% of the fare, but minimally $1, $2 for the first bag carried, if they even carry your bag. And for all you women, and I know y'all probably do this, but I didn't know this, it's supposed to be for hair salons, about 15%, manicure is 15 to 20%, and facial. So I just wanted to share that little information tip with everybody, because I never knew what it really what is considered average or reasonable for tipping.
Yeah, it's crazy, Bob, because people are seeing these, the screens in front of your face, and you feel this, you get this guilt feeling because you're worried that people behind you can see how much you tip. the person who has just flipped the screen around is sitting there watching you to see how much you tip. And a lot of times I've seen them where the lowest tip has been 20%. And again, this is on takeout service, and it's intimidating, and you feel that pressure to put in a number because it's like people are watching you. But we're just saying, hey, just use your head, think about what you're doing, don't feel any pressure, and you don't have to tip for everything. I I'll tip for takeout, but it's usually just a nominal amount, just because they might throw in some silverware and napkins or whatever. But I don't do 20% when I
Well, the gurus of tipping rules guidelines said I didn't know that it should be no more than 10%.
for takeout, yeah, and that's what I do. I do a nominal amount, but again, and a lot of times you have to look to find uh like below 15%. Definitely, I haven't ever seen 10%. Usually it's like 15, 18, 20, and 30. And so a lot of times I'll just put custom and then I put my amount in. I do it that way.
But it's so interesting, the whole philosophy, though. They say of tipping, the survey says that most people are not, they're not tipping because of gratitude. Some people are tipping because they don't know what they're doing back in the kitchen. And when they return, they don't know how these people are going to treat them.
And the thing is, like, some people will take their frustration or their anger out on the waiter. And a lot of times you don't even know how the tip is split. It could be just put in a pot and everybody shares it, or it could be that the problems you're having with your meal are not the fault of the server who's doing the best she can, but she's fighting maybe the cook or something like that. So, or you really don't know where the money's going. So that's what makes it even more frustrating when you get that terminal in your face and you're under that pressure to find the button that you want to push, that you're comfortable with.
And
And it's crazy. And people tip. The top three services people tip. Obviously, sit down restaurants are like 58%. Food delivery service, delivery drivers get tipped 40% of the time, and fast casual restaurants get tipped 42%. And so just keep your head, don't feel panicked, don't feel rushed, and put in the tip that you want to put in. Don't be intimidated by the screen.
yeah, and though the interesting thing about, now they're tipping, they have prompt. Well, first of all, let me talk about, since COVID, a lot of restaurants are now automatically adding in 18% to the bill. And you got to watch out, really look at the bill, because you could be, still paying, because they're adding. A lot of them, because of COVID, and they're lacking workers, servers and stuff, and they're adding, it to the bill. So watch out for that. But what's happening with the checkout, though, I just found it very interesting. I'm like, how can they be want to be tipped at the checkout stand? But what they're saying is that tip, because people say, okay, well, where's that tip going? They need to be tipping me because I'm doing the work. But they're saying it's actually, the tip is going to the employees. Now, I don't know how true that is, but, I don't know. But
And
that's what they're saying. That's where the tip's supposed to be going, to the employees.
yeah, and the other thing you got to watch, Bob, you say is that 18%. A lot of times that's added if you have 6 or more people. So just be cognizant of the fact that there may be a tip added to your bill already. So always pay attention to your bill.
And don't, you're right, but I'm seeing it at
Yeah,
places you don't even have more than 6 people, and they add the 18%. And this is, and
I'm
this
sure.
yeah, and this is the thing about that, by the way. If it is added into, if you didn't get that service and it's added into your bill, and you didn't feel you didn't get the service equivalent to that 18% they added in, you can actually call a manager and have them to change that.
I don't believe you can.
You don't think so?
No, because it's probably written somewhere. It's like with the 6 or more people. It's probably somewhere that in their information, if there's 6 or more people, there's going to be an 18% gratuity added. And so
Right.
do it by sitting down and having dinner. All you can do is just not go there again. But
I go for the life of me. If I don't want to pay the 18% gratuity, how can a restaurant make me pay that?
We're not gonna solve that one here, Bob. Let's roll ahead, my brother.
Okay, so let's go to the summary and takeaways. Thomas Doty talked about a lot of information today, and let me just get it up here now, and I'll start it off, Dope.
Okay.
Okay, one of the number one takeaways: treat your phone like your wallet. Okay, protect your information. Like we said, with screen locks, your passwords, your information in the phone, where you go on your phone. It's so important because this is like a person that is putting their hand inside your pocketbook or in your wallet.
Yeah, be diligent in the use of your phone. Okay. Don't use public Wi-Fi unless you are also using a VPN. You know, don't auto save your passwords. Use strong passwords that are going to protect you, and just treat it like your life is in this thing and you want to keep it protected.
Now, number 3, it almost sounds like it may be number 2, but it's not. Why we said we came back with protect your information. It's so essential, you all, that we're not cavalier with this, with our information. We got to take extra precaution with this information because, as I showed you, every so many seconds they are committing identity theft, and sometimes it takes years to clear this kind of infringement up. So we made number 3 protect your information again to make sure you can't take enough precaution with your information.
Yeah, and finally, last but not least, don't fall for that emotional blackmail of tipping an amount that you're not comfortable with. Just don't get emotional when you're paying a tip, and don't feel like you have to impress anybody when you do that. Put in the amount you want to put out that you feel is fair from your heart.
And that's it, you all. That we covered a lot of information about protecting your smartphone and talked about tipflation and emotional blackmail. So we hope y'all enjoyed this show this week. We'll be here next week, which will be, what's that, June the 2nd? No, we got another, yeah, it's the 1st.
Yep.
June the 1st. Oh, good gracious. Just want to let everybody know, roll call, all our wonderful folks out there: Modestine, Carl Chapman, my little brother, my sister Nolia, my sister Linda, and my sister Gloria. Thank y'all so much for being out there. And Rodney L. Madison Sr., the noteexperience.com. Go out there and check them out if you're interested in understanding about mortgage notes and looking for an alternative investment. Maddie Ford, thank you for the questions on AI, and we actually going to do a show. It might be next week, come to think about it, on AI, because this can be affecting your financial information. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. I want to thank the wonderful and illustrious Mr. James Alexander for being on, and one of our other favorites, the wonderful Angela Grubbs. How you doing, Angela? Thank you for checking us out. Thank you, everybody. We look forward to seeing you next week for our 103rd show. So have a good day, and keep those topics and keep those different concerns you have about your finances coming, and we really appreciate it. All right, Dope. Thanks for another great show, my brother. Look forward to next week.
Peace.
Peace.